Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 3, part 3 of this webinar series on your brand strategy for China. You have joined us for a very popular topic. We have about 150 registrants signed up for today's session, which is fantastic. All about things you must know about digital marketing before entering the Chinese market. And I'm very happy to have our guest speaker, Wendy from Alarice ChoZan, who's going to be presenting to us today. But as I do for all my webinars, we want to know who you are. So for those of you that have been able to join us live, and obviously some of you have done this in the last 2 days, but this is really for Wendy's benefit. We would love to know, are you a newbie to China, meaning that you found opportunities in the Chinese market and you're looking to gain a certain level of education on how to market your brand, how to protect your business? Then type in newbie. But here's a little bit of a difference. Would you also type in newbie dash either B2C business or B2B business? Because that will also give us an understanding of who's looking for consumer-oriented things, information, and those that are looking for B2B business information, all right? If you are a startup, then this is basically those of you that have transacted with China already, probably for a period of 1 to 3 years, either with an implemented entity in China or directly from your home jurisdiction or head office. If that is your case, type in startup dash B2C, B2B. And then obviously for the experienced China hands, those of you that are like me, having done business in China for over 10, 15, 20 odd years, we know why you're on here. It's always to look for new information, fresh ideas, but type that in as well. Experienced China hand dash B2B, B2C. I'm gonna just read out for Wendy's benefit who's on here. So Wendy, for your benefit, we've got Peter, who's a newbie, B2B to C. Dawn, who's a newbie. Emma, who's a startup, B2B. Robert, who's got a B2B business, but he's an experienced China hand. Elise is a newbie, B2B and B2C. Ray is a startup, who is B2C. Angela is a B2C newbie. Garrett is a newbie in the education sector. Guys, this is fantastic. We're getting suddenly so much more interaction in the last 2 days. Fabulous. All right, it's a real mix right now of B2B businesses and B2C businesses. And if we don't touch on anything that is direct to people in the education sector that's on here today, please get interactive on the Q&A. All right. If we don't answer certain, Wendy's had to go in a certain direction, and obviously we can't answer all of your questions today within the presentation, but our promise is that we will stay on and answer all of your questions in the Q&A, all right? Wendy and I have the aim today to educate you, to bring on our experiences, and in order for this to be a value add of your time spent, please do ask your questions. As I said earlier, we aim for this to be about 60 minutes. But there's been so much Q&A in the last 2 days that it has run over to about 80, 90 minutes in some cases. And that's because we are here to answer all of your questions. If you can't hang on till that long, I completely understand, but type in your questions. We will still answer them even if you log off, and you can go back to the recording later on to watch the ending, okay? Yes, Syrian, there will be a recording and it will go up on our YouTube channel, and a link to that will be given at the end of today once I've done the whole conversion, etc. All right, so you will be getting that. So stay tuned, stay as long as you can, and just know that Wendy and I will be answering all of your questions as much as possible at the end of the session today. A technical aspect. I don't own GoToWebinar. And I know people are frustrated by these platforms, especially if they can't stay on or the sound system isn't working, which has happened to a couple of people in the last 2 days. I apologize. Right now, I can only control what's happening on my end, and I've got control of the system. And as long as the sound is working and we're moving along, we're going to keep going. Wendy is using her landline or mobile to connect because she had issues with her microphone. And so far in the test run, that's worked perfectly. But I've also got Wendy on Wechat, so in case anything pops up on her end, we'll be able to communicate. Guys, if you get kicked off, sound doesn't work. The best thing to do is log off, re-log back in, just to reboot the system. If that happens on my side, I'll be doing the same thing. It usually takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute for me to reboot, and I'm back online. All right. Wendy and I will be staying on to finish today's presentation, and cross fingers we don't run into any issues. We're not using the cameras today because of bandwidth, and knowing that a lot of you are working from home, you might not have the necessary bandwidth. And we figured that at least listening to our voice and looking at the presentations would be more valuable than looking at our faces. But let me introduce who we are, because we did put our faces up on the presentation. So my name is Christina Kohler-Coluccia. I'm the head of business advisory at Woodburn Accountants and Advisors, and I will be the moderator for the Q&A in today's session. I'm one of the leading experts in inbound investment into China. I am a leading expert because I have physically got 17 years of on-the-ground experience in corporate services and corporate compliance in China. I'm specifically based in Shanghai, although currently I'm confined in Europe due to COVID. And I'm basically helping international companies with their market entry, their implementation, as well as, which for me is the most fun of the job, focusing on their growth in the market. And this all leads to a methodology that I've created called the China Roadmap Methodology, which basically highlights your journey, creating your journey, making sure you eliminate all the obstacles along the way. Now, in 2020, brand strategy, marketing, this was one of the most requested topics. And so I've delivered it in January 2021, which I didn't update on these slides, I'm realizing. But to give you an understanding, yesterday we had Matt Wills come on talking about storytelling, product design. And today we've got Wendy coming on talking about digital marketing. Tomorrow we've got Ariel popping in to talk about e-commerce and how marketing has to be combined with that e-commerce. And on Friday, I've got Olivier and myself finishing off the week with what will be your brand strategy. I haven't been able to market Olivier very much because he just joined us this week in terms of presenting, but he's going to be focusing a lot around budget. What type of budget do you need to create for your marketing strategy, your brand strategy? So he's going to be very much looking at the numbers. And if that's something that's interesting for you to know about, then do sign up. You can sign up at woodburnglobal.com/events if any of those topics for Thursday and Friday interest you. So enough from me. Let's turn over to Wendy. I'm going to unmute her. Wendy, you should be unmuted. Wendy?
Yes, I'm unmuted now.
Wendy,
yes,
can you hear us?
Hear me?
Super.
Yes.
I can hear you. And
yes.
I have given you, there we go. Super. Wendy.
Yes. So now it's my turn. So for today, we're going to talk about the things you must know about digital marketing before entering the China market. So the first here is a brief introduction, and Christina just has mentioned that she has experience on about China and the marketing. And for me, actually, I have over 3 years experience on managing the clients from the overseas about China marketing, and also for mainland China, including writings or the projects. So, and yes, of course, I'm a native speaker from China. So today, for me, I'm going to share that about the content today. The first is about China's new normal after COVID-19, and then after COVID-19, what have shaped the modern Chinese consumers. So what we should understand about their consumer behaviors, their consumption habits, what have changed them, and how this kind of consumption has goes in the future in 2021. And finally, we're going to talk about the top 6 trends in post-COVID time in China. So the first part is about China's new normal after COVID-19. So here is several interesting videos. This videos is not like just showing you some what Chinese people are living. It also shows that what kind of life we're living and what kind of like consumption requirements is showing behind this kind of behaviors. So the first one is about new retail. So this is really very intelligent. So for this one, this trend got really popular during the epidemic in China, which in Wuhan, the city which the epidemic was firstly started in, and actually, in Wuhan, there was really a setback, really like struggling status for people to get the consumption, to get the daily usage for like the food, like the waters, some vegetables. But there are no restaurants and no shops are open. So in this way, the e-commerce platforms have created this new retail to see that how we can deliver the food and the logistics to people directly. But in this way, we can also to have less contact. So this kind of contactless like delivery is not only in that time in the epidemic, but it's also developed a lot in the post-COVID time. This kind of techniques was firstly created by developed by the JD.com. So for our audience, I'm not very sure that how much you know about JD.com and China e-commerce ecosystems. So here I have a really brief introduction, and then later I will show you the picture of the China, the whole e-commerce ecosystems. So actually, in China there are several different like technic giants, and in the technic giants they are cooperating with the social real different big social media platforms. So for example, JD.com is one of China's biggest e-commerce platforms, and the other one is Taobao and Tmall. I think this is familiar for you. For JD.com, it has cooperated with Wechat. Wechat belongs to Tencent, and Tencent, Alibaba are the two biggest tech groups in China, and like Tencent contains the WeChat, and WeChat has a really close connection with JD.com.
Wendy,
and on the contrast,
Wendy, a second. Could you just slow down? You're talking a little bit fast, and some of the attendees have just asked if you could slow down a little bit.
Yes, sure. Sorry, I will slow down. Sorry.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yes. Sorry. So sometimes I will speak really fast. So just as I have mentioned, JD.com has really a strong connection with WeChat, which belongs to Tencent Group. And on the contrast, Alibaba has the power and to control the Taobao, which is the biggest. It's not one of the biggest. It is exactly the biggest e-commerce platforms in China. And this platform has a really strong connection, very close cooperation with Weibo. Weibo is the second biggest social media platforms in China, and its business model and its content model is really similar to Twitter. So in this way, there are two big groups in China. So JD.com and WeChat is famous for its logistics, delivery, and for its techniques, because the most popular categories of the products in JD.com is also about 3C products and the home appliances. So this new retail was firstly developed by JD.com, and this got also JD.com was benefit a lot from this kind of techniques. It got a good reputation during the epidemic, and this kind of techniques are also greatly widely used in China now. And second one is the domestic travel and the rise of local culture. So in this video, we can see, actually this is Chinese, so I will show it. I just like to introduce it to you. Because after the epidemic, Chinese people are still worried about to go overseas to travel. Actually, this cannot come true in China because China's government does not support this one, and they are not allowed people to have the visa, like the traveling visa. in China now to other countries. So in this way, people are turning more to the travel in the domestic travels, and especially for the short distance travels, because in the short distance travels, you can drive your own cars. You do not need to use the public transportation, and you do not need to live outside. So in this way, this makes people to feel safer about to going traveling. And actually in China, the domestic travels has recovered a lot. So there is a data. Just in 2020, the past October 1st is a national day in China, and the national day holidays is around like 8 days this year, last year, 2020. And the travelers around China has reached 637 million. So this is a really great recovery in this stage. And the third one is about live streaming. This is a 3D shopping. So what is a 3D shopping? The 3D shopping means that firstly, it is because the live streaming selling products is got a really huge trend. Actually, I think it's the biggest trend in 2020. All people are doing the live streaming, all the platforms, all the social media platforms. People are trying to enter this industry and to grab some benefits from this format of new marketing. So for live streaming, there are no more than just people stand there and speaking that, oh, this is really good, you're going to buy this, you're definitely going to purchase one. It's in different formats, because in this stage, all of the people are doing the live streaming. If you want to stand out, you have some like unique selling points. So in this way, some platforms started to use this kind of 3D live streaming, or even we're going to introduce a virtual live streaming. It's all fake. It's all virtual. And for this 3D live streaming, what is he talking about is that all the backgrounds are fake, all the backgrounds are virtual, and at the same time, all the things he takes, there will be an icon and an image, just like I show here. It will in the middle of the screen, and then it will show you very comprehensive angles. It's 360 degrees angles. What kinds of like the colors and the styles and the prices, and when you want to purchase it, you just click the link. So it is very convenient, and it is very can motivate the people to purchase something. So this is the most popular like the marketing ways in China now. And the last one is about digital currency. So what is digital currency? So actually in China, no people are using cash or Visa. The credit card does not work in China either. So what people are using is Alipay and Wechat Pay. But Wechat Pay, just as I mentioned, Wechat belongs to Tencent, and Alibaba again has Alipay. So there are two different ecosystems, which means that there are some apps and some systems websites which belongs to different groups will show that I do not support the other way. Like for example, in WeChat, of course you have to use WeChat Pay. You cannot, if you want to buy something, you can never use Alipay. And for Alibaba, when you have something on Taobao, you want to purchase something on Taobao, you cannot use WeChat Pay. So these are two totally different ecosystems. So, but actually for the digital currency, this is promoted by Chinese government. And what are their biggest advantage is that firstly, it can be used in every ecosystem, every app, because it is promoted by the government. So there is no bugs or there is no any limitations for using it. And secondly, you do not need to use any internet connections to use digital currency, such as Alipay and WeChat Pay. Of course, you have the Wi-Fi or you have the the internet connection, you can use it. But if you do not have any the internet connections in some really local places or villages, you cannot use this kind of ecosystem payment. But for the digital currency, you do not have this kind of worries. And last one is that everybody will have a bank account to support you to use like Alipay and WeChat Pay. But actually for the digital currency, you do not use anything about it, which is directly connected with your ID card, Chinese ID card. So this is totally very convenient, and this is, I think this is the next step for the Chinese digital life is going to. So for the next part, I'm going to introduce a little about the 6 news of Chinese 2020 China e-commerce. So it's not only about e-commerce. Actually, I think it shows the trends about 2020 because this all the data and all content are from the Double 11, which is China's biggest shopping festival, online shopping festival, and all the brands, all the platforms are attending this like the crazy party of the shopping festival. So these are the 6 new trends we're going to can be seen in this just past party. So the first one is about new content. So just as I have mentioned, upgraded live streaming formats are really various, and all the people are using this one. So now, 28 brands exceeded 100 million RMB in turnover for live streaming sales just in Double 11, which is Double 11 is in November 11th. This every brand in China is going to have the discounts. They're going to deliver the coupons, and they're going to use all kinds of this like the promotion formats to attract users to our brands to consume. And every people in that day, everyone in that day is going to buy something. It is not only about I'm going to like have the discount, I'm going to have something really cheap. It is also like a brand or it's also like a consumer behavior, and it's a habit for people to attend this shopping festival. I think it's really similar to the Black Friday in overseas, but I think the size is really different. It's really big, because I remember for this year, just for Taobao, this platform, the total GMV, the turnover of the Double 11 in November 11th this day has reached more than 490 billion RMB. And for the new retail, yes, online and offline has mixed more like more extremely in this year. So actually for the past few years, we have found that a lot of brands, even selling the food or fresh vegetables, are going to online. But in this year, a lot of people started to using this kind of live streaming for selling even hot pot or catering coupons. So in this way, it is also, I think, is affected a lot by the epidemic. People have already built the consumer habits to spend more money, not only for the offline experience, but also we can see that even almost all the offline industries can be not totally replaced, but the consumption way can be totally replaced by the online, which cannot be replaced as a consumer experience. And the last one is new manufacturing. So for the new manufacturers, so this year the logistics has really reached a new level, and there are a lot of warehouses which relies on the different ecosystem, different groups such as Taobao's warehouses has to show that I just can use 9 minutes. Just use 9 minutes, the order can ship to your home. So this is really impossible for some people, and even I think for me, this is quite amazing. It is because that based on the data analysis, every year, based on the data from the Double 11, like from 2018, 2019, the system has analyzed to a result that this is the most popular, this is the biggest community which has consumed a lot. So, or this is we will have several points, several different warehouses, which in the cities such as in Beijing. And before there will be a preheat period, and in this preheat period, because you just pay a deposit a little money, like for example, I buy a 100 RMB a product, and I just pay 20 RMB as a deposit. And in this way, I do not need to pay the rest of the money at the really beginning, but the product has already shipped to the warehouses, which is really nearby. And after you have finished the payment, the product will directly ship to your house. So this is how the logistics can achieve so effective this kind of delivery. So the next one is about the new brands. So in this year, a lot of new brands has appeared as some small brands, some local brands. The local brands really have a really good like the outstanding achievement in this year. The new brands are more focusing on first one is about new brands, which is just from we can see from the world. The brands are less than 3 years. And the second one is about the new brands are focusing more on the very sentimented needs and the people's requirements. It's like before people are having the disinfection machines like for clothes, but now people are even have the disinfection machines for the toothbrush. So this is really some new brands are appearing to attract the consumers from really detailed daily life. And next one is about the new consumptions. New consumptions is not only about the new areas, but it's also about the new consumers, such as the silver-haired and the Generation Z, which in the consumer group I will talk about it a little bit more. And for the globalizations, the Alibaba and JD.com also plan a lot in this part. We can see that both import and export sales are really hot this year. So only 1 minute of sales from AliExpress's overseas warehouses this year has exceeded 1 hour of sales last year. Actually, in this year, the domestic brands have grown really a lot, and they're in a really amazing trend. But actually, a lot of people will find that why it has grown a lot for the overseas brands, for foreign brands. So why is a great chance for us to enter China in this stage? So the reason is that people cannot go out overseas. Chinese people have the consumer habit of to purchase the milk powder. This is necessary. And for the beauty industry and for the luxury, normally they will go into outside, and there are a lot of people called 代购. 代购 goes to overseas, and then they take something back to China to sell to their consumers. But in this year, people cannot achieve this kind of purchasing journey, this consumer journey. So they will turn more to the online e-commerce, to the online to the online cross-border e-commerce. So this is also a good chance for us. So for this one, we have seen a lot of news. What is news in China? So now we can see what is shaping the new normals in post-COVID-19. So the first one is about fast speed digitalization. So the outbreaks of COVID-19 has built this kind of digitalization really fast in China. It is not only to the B2C or online. For example, some online brands such like for the drinks or for the clothes, for the fashions, luxuries. So this is really easy for people to go in online. But for even B2B and for the catering industry are also going to online, and even for the financial services. And the next one is rise in domestic consumption. So this is undoubtedly people cannot go overseas. Firstly, people will turn more to the online cross-border e-commerce. And secondly, people also have this kind of feeling and this emotion that I can support more for our domestic consumption brands. So this is also a kind of social responsibility showing. And then we are rising the competitive intensities. So in China, the top companies capture about 20% of the total economic profits. So most of these companies have really to really strong business models, allowing them to react faster to market changes. And then consumers come to different ages, such as the silver-haired. The silver-haired people are like the last group of people to show the interest to the internet life, or people are really difficult for them to achieve, to contact with internet people, to have this kind of consumption behaviors online. But for this epidemic, people have no choice. They have no choices. So in this way, they started to using the to e-commerce. They're starting to use the financial services, and the health consultant is also really popular. And the last one is about private and social sector setups. So the private traffic, and for the private traffic means that people started to build different communities based on the needs and requirements. It's not like that I posted something on my official account, I posted something from a brand angle. It is also about that I communicate with the consumers as a really personal way, as an individual, as a people, as a person. So this can make people to think that I'm closer to you, and this can also to increase the consumer experience and the life efficiency. And now the economic recovery after the epidemic has shown really great potential. So in October, retail sales has rose around 4.3 year-on-year. So this is like expected that China will back to the pre-COVID levels by the beginning of 2021. So in this chart, we can see this trend has really obvious is that from the really beginning of 2020, when people were suffering from the epidemic in China, now actually there are still some small setbacks, breakouts in China to see that there are several like cases for the epidemic for the COVID-19. But actually it is because of winter, and in this year the measures has been taken more efficiently, and because the vaccine has already come out. So I think this rebound is going to continue just after the winter. So here are opportunities generated by the pandemic. So the things people try to for the first time during the pandemic, such as online healthcare services. JD.com has this kind of services, such as for the online, even for the online hospitals, you can have your medicine, you can have your online own healthcare consultant, you can have the vaccine like to pre-sales. So this is really different levels compared with the pre-COVID time. And also for the online education, I think for most of people I think it's not only in China, it's in worldwide. The online education has like to boomed really a lot in the past 1 year. And especially in China, because China does not rely more on the online education. It is totally offline. Not only for the from the small groups to the elder groups, it's all for offline. This year, it has totally changed Chinese people's education behaviors. And also for the online entertainment, the short videos and live streaming has really a big trend this year. And for the social networking, the e-commerce, of course, we are over all the relationships in epidemic was shaped by the internet instead of the offline connection. So this is totally reasonable. And then for the indoor fitness equipment and online banking. Yeah, it's all about that people cannot go outside, so we'll turn to online. So here is an overview of China's social media ecosystems. So in recent years, Chinese social media have developed dramatically and diversified. So for the specific functions and characteristics, the network and community-based, especially for this social media platforms, have helped brands to develop their marketing strategies a lot. Almost all the brands will go into the top 2 Chinese social media platforms. So these two, the last two, are definitely which you cannot ignore. WeChat is China's biggest social media platforms. Around 1.2 billion people are using WeChat, which means that in China, you have a phone and you can connect it to the internet. You will have a WeChat. And for Weibo is more like a relaxing and more easy place compared with WeChat, because WeChat is like a place more related to your friends and your relatives. But for Weibo, people are focusing more on the celebrities, the KOLs, and the brand campaigns in these platforms. And for the content communities, the 3 platforms are focusing in different industries. So the first one is Red. Red is also a very important social media platform in China. It focuses on the experience sharing. The most popular industries in this platform in Red is like the cosmetics, and for like the lifestyle sharing, the fashion. So this kind of really easy and also including the fitness. So this kind of content is really popular on Red, and it's almost all the people are sharing their especially for girls. When people get some like good lipsticks, eyeshadow palette, they will go to Red and to show off. So this is platform a lot of FMCG brands, the cosmetics brands will choose this platform. And for Jihoo is a platform really similar to Quora. This platform, you can raise your own questions, and then there will be some people going to answer your questions. And on Jihoo, the content is more specific and it's more professional. So a lot of B2B platforms, a lot of B2B companies, and a lot of like the medical, the chemistry, and this kind of really needs professional knowledge and will go to this platforms to build their own brand image and to build their brand trust. And for Douyin is really a closed community. So in these platforms, people are focusing in more culture and for like entertainment, the movies, the books. So it is more like the emotional appealing and for the entertainment experience. But this is a really closed community. So I think for this platform, we should have to pay attention to is that in these platforms, you have to be some, like if you want to promote some art, some exhibitions or some books, so this is definitely a good platform for you. And then some vertical platforms such as Keep. Keep is for the fitness, and Momo is for like the friendships. You can be there to meet different people such as Tinder. And for Mafengwo, this is based on the travel. People are sharing their experiences about traveling, about the destinations, and how we can choose the most efficient way. Mafengwo is also really good platforms for people searching for travel related knowledge. And for the content specific, the short videos, if I have to say which are the two biggest trends in China in 2020, definitely the first one is short videos and second one is for live streamings. So both of them are about videos. The short videos, there are two giants, Douyin and Kuaishou. Douyin is more fancy and more brands are entering Douyin. Douyin targets more like the tier 1 and tier 2 cities, the young generations. So different from Douyin, Kuaishou is famous for its e-commerce live streaming, the live streaming to selling products. It features the lower tier cities, such like tier 3 or to tier 5 cities. So the unit price on this platform is lower than Taobao live streaming, which is the biggest live streaming platforms in China now. But actually in Kuaishou, the user stickiness is higher than any other platforms, because in these platforms, the consumers does not only consider you as like a live streamer or like a brand or seller, they also regard you like a company, this kind like you as a friend. So this is really a unique platforms, and now in the next 1 year, in 2020 and 2022, because Kuaishou started to cooperate with JD.com, it also started to focus more on the 3C products and home appliances. So this is also a really good chance. And for the comprehensive video platforms, we have several like long video platforms such as iQIYI and Bilibili. Bilibili is based on its animation culture. It's most of the Bilibili target audience is about the young generation, the Generation Z. So this is a really good platform for brands to attract the young generations. And we also have like the parenting and some audio platforms. So these are all about the vertical industry platforms. So this is China e-commerce ecosystems. We have all kinds of e-commerce platforms. So the first one, I would to introduce this page very briefly. So the first one is Taobao. Taobao and Tmall both of them belong to Alibaba. And actually, these are not two apps. These are one app. Tmall is just like a title is that if you are a brand and you have made some like to limitations, you have to meet some requirements. And in this way, on top of these platforms, you can get this title, you belong to Tmall Mall. So this is not two different separate platforms. This is the thing I want to clarify. And we also have JD.com. So this dog belongs to JD.com, the second biggest shop, like the e-commerce platforms in China. And next one, I would also want to mention is that for the group buying, Pinduoduo. So now Pinduoduo is the third biggest e-commerce platforms in China. It is quite new. It was just built after.
Wendy, we've lost you. Wendy, we've lost you. You have muted yourself. Can you unmute yourself, please? We cannot hear you. Wendy, you've muted yourself. We cannot hear you. Can you unmute yourself? You have to click on the telephone in the control panel to unmute yourself. Wendy, we cannot hear you. There we go. Wendy?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So I was just talking about Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo is a recently built e-commerce platform. It only has 10 years old, but this is a really big trend and is a really big platform. It's the third biggest platform in e-commerce platforms in China. And in this platform, it features the lower price and it also targets the lower tier cities. But it is really unique platforms and nobody can ignore it in China now. So next, we're going to talk about understand the modern Chinese consumers in 2020. So for the overview of app categories for China's mobile internet users. So actually, we have found that the social media has really affected people a lot. So this is undoubtedly, if we want to enter China, we do not need actually an official website. We do not need like the some other things. We just need to enter the social media platforms, and we have our own like Alipay and Wechat Pay. So these are the two biggest things if you want to enter China. This is how you can achieve to building your brand and to connect with the consumers easily. And for the online videos and short videos, it's definitely the most important in the past 1 year and even in the next few years. So here are analysis of preferences by age groups. So what are they like? So what are they what are their preferences? So they have really different like the activities. They have really different preferences for like people in the young generations. They like game and short videos, and for a little bit older, they like online videos and social medias. And for the 45 and older, they are more interested in the information and online videos instead of like the games. So this is all the three groups we're going to talk about. And these are the 8 major groups we are going to focus in the next 1 year. So the Generation Z refers to the post-95. This is one of our most target audience, and this is the most important consumers for people. And the silver hair generations also have a really strong consumption power. And after the epidemic, they're more rich to the internet and more to the online consumption habits. So I think this is really very important. And for the super moms and dads, some mother and baby, some lifestyles, this is definitely the very, very important one. Because in China, the moms today is totally different from the moms in 10 years ago. They're caring more about themselves. They like the cost. They also still like the key interest about the live streaming, the cosmetics, and the fitness. So these are their major like the consumption behaviors. And to the women over 30, this kind of powerful women in China, they do not have enough time to shop, but they have really strong consumption abilities. Most of them live in tier 1, tier 2 cities. So this is undoubtedly a really strong consumption group for us. And the millennials, the lower tier city youth. The lower tier city youth I really want to mention here is that this group of people, some people will think that they do not have really strong consumption ability, but actually different from the first tier city, this kind of group of people, first, they really do not need to pay loan or pay rent. Normally they live with their parents. They have really like to relaxing life. They have more leisure time. They do not need to struggling for their own lives. So this is also why this group of people have more money and more leisure time to target. And for the men over 40s, this group of people maybe is not that attractive for most of the brands, but actually they started to caring more about themselves. And even the male consumptions, the male cosmetics started to boom in the past few years. And the pet lovers, the pet trend just started in China, and this is not really a comprehensive industry. It's not mature enough as the overseas. So in this way, this is also a next blue sea. It is really, really important. It's really potential in this way. And next one is understanding the modern Chinese consumers. So we can see the tier 1 to cities and tier 3 to 5 cities has really different consumer behaviors. So before the COVID-19, during the COVID-19, and after the COVID-19, they're really different. So before the COVID-19, they have more the tier 1, the higher tier city people like to have more diversified and stable preferences. And for the lower tier cities, they prefer local Chinese brand, which has higher cost effectiveness. And for during the COVID-19, actually the higher tier cities is affected more because actually first they have more floating populations. People work here and then I go back to my hometown, such as lower tier cities. So in this way, they have more stress to rent apartments. They have more stress to pay for the loans. But actually for the lower tier cities, firstly, less people are there, so they're less affected. So seldom will they feel that I was really affected by the epidemic. I have to like to lower my consumption levels, or I have to do something to make myself survive in this stage. So there are two different levels of affection. And after COVID-19, actually the higher tier cities showing the trend of the revenge consumption. It's really penned up this kind of demands greatly. But they have like to have given up their travel spendings and other like non-necessary products. So in this way, it was affected a lot because they have more stress and to leave. But they also have the consumption ability, also have this kind of urgency to spend money because they want to spend money. They're not going to buy something. They just have the mindset that I want to purchase more things to meet myself. And the lower tier cities, they're more supportive of the local Chinese brand. Just I have mentioned, they're seeking for the cost effectiveness, and at the same time, they're very interested in the social responsibilities to support their own countries. So how do we achieve different kind of buyers? So we have the planners and instant buyers, and we also have the mixed types. So for the planners, it means that such as the powerful women, I don't have enough time to walk through all the social media platforms, and we have like the over 40 men, and we have the silver here. So they are the people who are the planners. And in this way, the brand reputation is really important. We have this kind of private traffic to improve the efficiency. So the efficiency is what we are seeking for. But for the instant buyers, So what does it mean? It means that that is also the reason why live streaming got really popular. Is that when people go into online, I'm not sure what I'm going to buy. I'm driven by some like the QLs, the celebrities. I just want to spend money. So in this way, they're affected by the content and appearances a lot. So who are the instant buyers? They're the post 95s, and they're the super moms. So they are the people who can be affected very easily. So the live streamings and short video platforms are definitely the platforms you have going to if you are targeting this group of people. And for the instant buyers, I want to add one is about the unit price. The product unit price is very, very important for this group of people. It's very high because if you have to spend around 2,000 RMB, for most of the people, you cannot be the instant buyers. You have to be the planners. And for the mixed tab, it means that sometimes you're instant buyers and sometimes you're the planners. So the most important is the promotion. It means that when the first is about the brand awareness. It's about that when I'm thinking about I'm going to buy something, I will firstly think about the most common, the latest thing I have already saw. So this is the biggest thing. The promotion is very important. And when I want to buy something, I'm a planner. The coupons is also very, very important to affect your decisions. And then we come to the top 6 trends in the post-COVID time in China. So the first one is, and doubly we have mentioned a lot, is about home economy. So previously the home economy referred only to consumption habits. So now it's become lifestyle. It is because that all people are turning to online. People are staying more time at home. So in this way, of course, they want to let them feel more relaxed and let them to feel that the life quality has been improved. So what are they doing now? So for the eating and entertainment and online shopping by live streaming, the health and sports. The health and sports is a really important part for people to enter, because in China, a lot of people do not have this kind of habits firstly, we do not have the habits for gym. This is the first very important part. And secondly, people have the habits to gym is more like in the higher tier cities in Beijing, Shanghai, the tier 1 and tier 2 cities. We go to the gym clubs and then we like to take the photos and we show off on the social media. So this is the key part. But actually in this part, after the epidemic, people have this kind of consumer habits to see I can do my business, I can to improve my physical status at home, and that is what I really important for me to do. It is because the immunity during the epidemic is really, really necessary. So this has become really big trend, and a lot of platforms are started to selling this kind of online courses, such as not to mention that Alibaba and JD.com, also some vertical platforms I have mentioned at the beginning about the Keep. The business platforms started to promote a lot of this kind of home courses for you. And live services such as food delivery, the fresh ingredients delivery. And for the live services, actually this is a different trend, because normally people will go to like the offlines to buy the ingredients or the cooking things for like the fresh vegetables and fresh fruits. But now it is people are now can buy it online. It means that it has a term called 3 kilometers. It means that in the 3 kilometers, people can have this kind of ingredients like less than 10 minutes or less than 20 minutes. It is really efficient. So a lot of like the convenience stores and even Alibaba are entering this industry to build a lot of mini stores to sell this kind of like a supermarket, but it's more efficient, just like very, very close to the big communities. So this is the way how the giants are entering this live services industry. And the education and the works. So this is very totally different levels compared with the before epidemic. And the second one is health conscious economy. So the health in China, people are more tending to eating and sleeping habits. It's not like that I go to do more gym. Yes, of course, the gym has become more and more common and more important in China now. But firstly, when Chinese people want themselves to be healthier, they will tend to change their eating and sleeping habits. So, and besides the eating habits, the sugar-free has got really popular in China just in 2020. And in 2020, there is also another trend. It's called the plant-based food. I know that kind of concept has got popular in the overseas for several years, but this is very start and very not mature enough industry in China. People do not have this kind of consumption habits. But now in 2020, the plant-based milk and plant-based meat just got into China, such as Starbucks and KFC started to use the plant-based meat and plant-based milk to produce their own products. So besides the sugar-free and plant-based, also there is another key opinion. It's called anti-aging. Anti-aging is also a very important concept for Chinese people to accept, not only like for eating, but also for some cosmetics, and even for some machines, facial. So this kind of anti-aging has become the most popular skincare concept in China in 2020. So for Heytea is a Chinese milk tea brand, domestic brand. So this brand is, I think, it's one of China's biggest milk tea brand. The milk tea is Chinese girls' favorite drink. It's also my favorite drink, but it's really fat actually. So when girls want to have this kind of milk tea, it's very sweet, it's very tasty. We will always afraid that I will gain a lot of fat during this process. So in this way, there will sugar, there will fat, there will calories. This kind of concept got really, really viral. So Heytea, which was famous for its milk tea, started to promote this kind of soda water just in 2020 July. So it has also to do the live streaming and to have a lot of promotion campaigns. But the concept is the most important. And the third one is the pet economies. Just as I have mentioned, this industry is not mature. It's totally not mature. So for China's urban pet market, mostly for cats and dogs, actually mostly there's cats and dogs, but now there are a lot of people started to read the goats and also like the lizards, the snakes, and also the rabbits. A lot of different kinds of pets are got popular in China. So this industry has I want to show you it through two cases. First is new scenarios. The Heytea. Do you remember just about the zero-calorie brand? So Heytea has cooperated with the pet economy. They started to build a pet-friendly theme store in Shenzhen in 2020. They can meet the needs of the consumers and pets, especially the social needs of young consumers, creating a brand with new consumer plus pet social space. This kind of space does not exist in China at all, actually. So in before, even in some shopping malls and in some subways, we cannot see any pet. We cannot, which I mean some functional pets, such as for blind people. But this kind of pet economy and pet scenarios is really, really not common in China. But in this way, in 2020, this trend has become start to enter people's eyesight, and a lot of brands started to use this kind of icons, this kind of concept to target the pet lovers. And for the pet stores, the milk tea, it's Chinese most popular drinks, and for a lot of brands started to create the pet specific milk tea to attract the pop-up stores, such as to attract the pet lovers. Yes, and the first one is about everything cloud. Just as I have mentioned a lot, everything is online. So what are there online? First is retail e-commerce, and secondly, it's the supply chains. All the things you can to check it, to the data analysis, to all the supply things, is also to go to the online. You do not need to any offline support. And for the office and education and the contract is also about the safety, the privacy, and for the interactions also is going to be completed in a new level to increase the consumer experiences. And also for the interviews and online trainings, this is also very important in China now. And then the fifth one is finally we'll go to the live streaming shopping. The live streaming is not only about people stand in front of the screen to see that, oh, you can buy something, this is like the clothes, this is the brand. So this is really a different level. So first is the live streaming has cooperated a lot with the brand marketing and the galas. So here is Lemmer cooperated with pianists in China to do the live streaming to show their different brand image. And also for the Austin Lee is one of China's biggest live streamers, and he has cooperated with Wechat and with the virtual idols in China. So these are totally the fake and the reality. This is totally the mixing. This is the next level, and the live stream is totally have to be formed in 2021 continuously. But there will be a lot of new formats for the AR, VR, 3D, and virtuals. And the last one is about community group buying. For the community group buying, is I just have mentioned that you can understand it in a very simple way. It's like I have a community group. Just like for me, I have a community group, and every day the brand will show something, will to post something in this WeChat group, and then I can order it, and it will be delivered to my community, and I can pick it in my community. This is the very simple way we can understand it. So this is the process how the platform, the brand, and the group lead and the consumers are connected to each other. So this kind of group buyings were started very early in China, but now during the epidemic, it's not. It was developed more decently, because in this way, people cannot go outside. People cannot to directly, even in a delivery way, people cannot buy things online because the logistics does not work. There are no that many logistic people delivery men. You can order one by one. So in this way, the community group has appeared, and this is totally the new way for people and for the brands to improve the efficiency. I remember that a lot of brands such as Haidilao, the biggest Chinese hot pot chain restaurant, and for like the Alibaba started to do this, and at the same time we also have some luxury brands like the Max Mara started to do this community group buying in China to build their own traffic and to improve their online retail efficiency. Yeah, so here is a summary for today's webinar. So what you have to remember when you started want to enter China. So the first one is there is a really strong willingness to consume now in China, not only for some daily things, but also for clothing, shoes, fashion, and even luxury. These are the things the most want to buy on Double 11 this year. And Double 11 can show actually a great trend in the next 1 to 2 years about the consumer behaviors. And for the consumers' trust in e-commerce platforms has totally increased, driving growth in online consumption of daily necessities. And live streaming is the biggest trend I have mentioned a lot. Live streaming and short videos. If you want to in China, these are totally things you have to consider to drive your own sales. And for the consumption trends, consumers have increased their sense of recognition and trust in domestic products and brands. It has been a new trend in this year. A lot of domestic brands has appeared and did a really good job because they know the market better. They can meet the consumers' requirements as soon as possible. And for the consumption upgrades, consumers are increasingly pursuing personalized consumptions. They have more they really want the brands to do one thing, is that I understand you. Every brand, if you want to show this kind of information, this is really necessary for the consumers in China. So, and now consumers will preferably check brands cooperation and cross promotion. This is also a really good way for such as with IPs, with movies, with other brands. So this is really good way for the brands want to in China to firstly to want to boom their brand awareness at the really beginning stage. Yes, I think that's all for today's presentation. Yes, that's all for me.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm just going to take over the controls. If you guys could share with us what was your biggest takeaway from today, that's always appreciated. It's always good to know what you learned from today's session. And if you want to reach out to Wendy or I, our contact details are in the chat section of the control panel, so you can take a note of that and pen that down. Let's go ahead with the Q&A so we can start off today's session. So Wendy, there are a lot of people on here that are also in the B2B side, and I know that your presentation was very much focused on the B2C side. So I do have Jihoo who's asking, which platform is suitable to promote industrial products like food processing equipment or spare parts? Is there a platform that exists?
Yes. Firstly, I think for any companies want to enter China, firstly, definitely we have to enter its Wechat. We have to build our own Wechat official account. It is like that because I have mentioned the website does not work in China. Chinese people do not have this kind of like the reading habits about the official website. So the Wechat account shows a role that I'm educating my consumers. I'm going to communicate, and this is my base to communicate not only with the 2C end, but also with the 2B end. And secondly, Jihoo is the way how we can reach more consumers for the B2B end. It's more professional, it's more industry related. So this is, I think, and for Weibo is also really good platforms and is a big social media platform. But I think for 2B end, it needs a lot of effort and it requires a lot of money to put in. So in this way, I think Wechat and Jihoo are the two biggest social media and marketing channels I would recommend.
Fantastic. Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
Which platforms would be best to promote university degrees at a bachelor's and master's level?
Oh yes, for the education one. So first, I also want to mention Wechat because Wechat has the long article format. I think in the next every question I would recommend Wechat because this is our basic place to promote our brands. And I think for the educational, the Wechat long articles can really to make the brand education very fast and very efficiently. And second, I want to introduce is that the Jihoo. Jihoo is also suitable for this kind of knowledge things. I will explain it more here. And the third one, I would recommend Douyin. Douyin is a platform that short video platforms, the biggest short video platforms in China. And why I recommend this one? It is because this is a platform you can show your university and life and to show your education atmospheres more comprehensively, and it's more in a detailed way because the videos is always better than the text and than the words. So you can use very short videos like 50 seconds or like the 30 seconds or even 1 minute to show different levels and different angles of your education life. I think this, and also for Douyin, the target audience is like the tier 1 and tier 2 cities. I think this is really a good way for the overseas universities to target their audience in China.
Wendy, could you do me a favor and just type in the Jihoo and the others in the chat box? People are asking for what is the spelling of those platforms.
Yes.
Could you just type that into the chat box?
Sorry, I thought I cannot type. I don't know why.
Okay, no worries. I will send out, I think you've highlighted it on one of your slides, right? On the slides with all the platforms on there. I think you've highlighted the Jihoo, right? Here. Let me type it in.
Yeah.
1 second. There we go. That's Jihoo is there. If there's something else I'm missing, is there another platform that you had mentioned, Wendy, that I'm missing? I wrote Wechat, Douyin, Jihoo.
I also
I'm not sure if
Weibo.
you mentioned.
Yeah.
And Weibo. Okay, I'll write Weibo as well. There you go.
Yeah.
Veronica, sorry, Faye and Angela, does that help? I think that helps you maybe with what I've listed. There are a couple of companies that are on here, Wendy, that are in the healthcare business. So one company I know is in pharma, and there's another company here in terms of mental health. What are the best platforms to reach out in terms of medical attention, support for mental health, or even for farmer associated companies?
Oh, yes. Firstly, if we mention the social media, first I want to mention the e-commerce platforms, because we all know that Taobao is China's biggest e-commerce platform. But actually, for this kind of services, if you want to sell it online, I will recommend JD.com, because in JD.com, people are searching for some more professional products, such as the health consultant is one of JD's biggest achievements in 2020, and biggest successful product. The health consultant, health care, and also for the hospital.
Wendy, sorry. What does healthcare consultant mean? I mean, does that mean you go to JD.com and you buy advisory services? You buy consulting services?
Yeah, exactly. It was sold online.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a tip for those of you that are out there that, if you're also looking to sell sort of services, that JD.com might be an option for you. This was something that's new for me. I haven't seen that before. Understand?
Yeah.
And if you want to promote health services, where would you do that type of promotion?
For health services, firstly, I would say for health services, I think Jihoo is also a good platform. I know I have mentioned it a lot, because for Jihoo, people are really having the questions, and the people are really to need some professional and need really to show your. People are like this is a good platform for brands to show your professional knowledges. And I think for the healthcare products and for the health services, this is how people can build the trust, because I know a lot of Chinese domestic organizations for mental services, for health services, entering Jihoo to answer a lot of questions, and also to publish their own articles to communicate with the consumers. And besides it, if we do not want to enter platforms, I also recommend Red to do some KOL promotions for the healthcare services.
Did you say KOL, key online influencer promotions?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, influencer, yeah. Red is I think Red is, yeah.
Why is that a good option for those types of sectors?
Yeah, for Red, actually, the first one is to remember that we call something the instant buyers. The instant buyers mean that we do not have a lot of plans. I do not want to buy something. But on Red, I know that this is a good platform for this kind of instant buyers. And secondly, I know that on Red, a lot of people are seeking for some tips and for some unique experiences, and a lot of people are also to sharing their experiences of fighting with fighting with disease and fighting with some some mental issues. I think this is the first reason. And second reason I want to see that is for Red, there are a lot of tips sharing and experiences sharing about how to keep healthy. It's like a list, and a lot of fitness QLs, a lot of fitness influencers are in this platform. So in this way, I think Red is also a good option especially for targeted female audience.
Understand. Thank you, Wendy. There's another question here from Veronica, and Veronica's question is how to attract visitors to the official WeChat account. But I'd like to expand on that because I think it's not only about how to attract visitors to WeChat. How do you generally attract visitors to these platforms to review your content that you're building up?
Yes. So first, I want to clarify one point is that the content is always the base. So how we can, sorry, I will start from how we can attract, and then I will go to how we can maintain our consumers. The first one is that do the media buying. Especially for WeChat and Weibo. So this kind of, they have a lot of different media buying and advertising formats. And because of the algorithm, if you do not do the media buying in China, in the China market, you won't get enough like the views, or even your followers cannot see you. So firstly, you can use, if you have a lot of budget, this is really good. You can do a lot of big advertising. And even you do not have a lot of budget, this is also actionable to attract consumers, like to buying from the CPM. It's called the clicks per miles. Every 1,000 people, how people can see it. So this is really the common advertising way. And for the media buying things, there are too many advertising formats. I think I cannot recommend here one by one, but I think this is a way how we can attract them. And besides advertising, we can also do the lucky draws. The lucky draw and for the UGC campaigns is always a good way to encourage people to spread by themselves, to from your followers to spread to other people, and then more people will see our posts, and more people will come to our brands, to come to our accounts to see our content. That's the next step. And the third step is that what we can do is that the content is always the base, is always the king. It's not only for the social media platforms, but also for the e-commerce platforms. You have to do the daily content operations to maintain your consumers. That's the reason why a lot of brands, even in e-commerce platforms, they're posting the live streamings every day. They're posting their own content, such as the buyer shows every day. And for the e-commerce platforms, when people come to you, what can really maintain them after they have like to attend the lucky draws, to attend the campaigns, is that your content. You have to really pay attention to this. That's how we can attract the people and how we can maintain the consumers.
Fantastic. Thank you, Wendy. Patrick has a question, because you mentioned on the slide with all the platforms, the social media platforms, you were talking about Douyin, and I forget what the second one was. And Patrick was asking, what about Youku as a video platform? Is it outdated?
Actually, I want to mention that now there is different levels of the video platforms. So when we mention Youku belongs to the long video platforms. It's different from the short video platforms. So in the long video platforms, the biggest one is iQIYI. We can see from the green one. And the second one is Tencent Video, which belongs to Tencent Group. This is the first level. And the second level is Youku. Youku was bought by Alibaba already. Alibaba gives them a lot of like support, data, and for the traffic. But actually, Youku now is not. It's always not the top priority. It's not always not like the top levels in the long video platforms. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a question from Jihoo saying, can any person, including foreigners, join Jihoo platform?
Yes, sure. I think we can. Yeah, even not only for a person, even you are a foreign brand, you can register a Zhihu like enterprise account. Yeah.
Oh, so as a foreigner, you can register an account, and I mean, Jihong, if you want to see if you can download Jihoo, I would just go to your app store and see if you can download it, if that works.
Yeah.
There might be some
Yeah.
restrictions in some jurisdictions that you're in, but it should be able to work.
Yeah.
Okay, what are the top, this is from Ray, what are the top social media platforms to target high net worth individuals?
Oh, high networking individuals. Weibo. I will say Weibo. Yeah, because Weibo. Firstly, Weibo is like the one, because although I didn't mention Weibo a lot, it is because that on Weibo, the influencers expenses and for the advertising expenses is increasing a lot, and the algorithms is not friendly to the newcomers and for the small brands. But actually, if we want to see that to the high networking individuals, I would say Weibo is totally the good is a very important platform for this group of people besides WeChat. Yeah.
I was just about to say, Wendy, I think the main platform that people have to get onto is WeChat. And then once you've got WeChat, you can consider the other platforms like Weibo, Jihoo. But I think the number one platform people have to think about is WeChat. There is
totally.
a question from William, which is, can a foreign national register for a live streaming account on Douyin?
Yes. Oh, yes. Because actually, I'm not sure whether how many people know about it, because Douyin is the format of this platforms in China, and for the overseas platforms, it's called TikTok, and TikTok is banned in America now. So I think for the foreigners, now we cannot register Douyin, whether only if you like to register account to because we know that China has a wall about to disconnect the overseas internet with the China inside internet. So this is I think this is a setback for foreigners to enter exactly Douyin content, because the content on Douyin is totally different from the content on TikTok.
But can somebody set up a Douyin account overseas, or not possible?
I think no, it does not work.
It does not work. Okay, understand. There's then a question from Syrian, which is 3D live streaming or 3D shopping on all platforms, or are there main ones to concentrate on?
No, it is not created by all the platforms. I know that it is not only supported by Taobao, the biggest live streaming platforms in this stage. Yeah.
Understand. Thank you. And then there's a question from Angela, which I think I will answer. But Angela's saying, I work for a university in the UK, and Wendy mentioned that the Chinese government is restricting the issue of visas to discourage travel abroad. Do you know the extent of this in terms of being able to travel to study abroad? Angela, right now the restrictions are due to COVID. So right now people can leave China, but there's no guarantee that they can come back in. So for example, I am currently confined outside of China because of issues with visa issuances and border controls and quarantine issues. So going back in is an issue. When you're talking about students trying to obtain visas to study abroad, the issue is, for example, in the UK, will a visa be issued for them to get into the UK? Regardless of the university's requirement to get them in? I don't know that answer. I think there's a political side of that with COVID and embassies being shut and embassies discouraging any form of visas to be issued. And this is purely a COVID thing. It has nothing else, it doesn't have anything else to do with anything else. It's just purely because of COVID and the spread of COVID, that there are visa restrictions. So even if the university would issue a letter saying, please issue the visa for this person to go to the UK, it's up to the UK consulate or the UK embassy in China to grant that visa. And that's purely a COVID thing. Angela, I hope I answered your question on that. Li Shu has a question, which is, we have a lot of business from China. We are UK based and have no base in China. Is this still practical to use these Chinese online platforms or apps to do and maintain frequent marketing promotion?
Yes, it is practicable. Actually, for a lot of platforms such as Wechat and Weibo, and except Douyin or Works. But if you have some like Chinese agencies, I think this can work better for you to maintain the social media platforms in China, because there are a lot of like the account setup, like verifications, which require some inside sources, or you have to be in China to connect with the internet. So I think this is a better way. But if you mention whether we can do it, I think this is practical. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Wendy, and I'm not a marketeer, but I think if you are trying to attract Chinese customers, even if you don't have a base in China, and you're just trying to attract them to your overseas entity or to your overseas brand, the only way they're going to find out about you is if you do marketing and you promote yourself in China and you promote yourself via those platforms. And obviously, the more you do and the more consistent you are, the better traction you will get to visitors onto your site or onto the various landing pages that you might create. So that is something that's important. Leon has a question, which is, do you need representation in China to sell over e-commerce? Leon, I'm not quite sure about that question, what you mean by representation. Anybody can do e-commerce in China, especially if they do cross-border e-commerce. Wendy highlighted that on one of her slides. You mean, oh, so Leon's saying, do you have to create a branch or a subsidiary in China? Not at all. You can actually do cross-border e-commerce using a TP provider. You don't have to have an entity on the ground, and then you can do cross-border, or you use a distributor or an agent to represent your brand and then do the e-commerce directly in China. That's up to you. I hope I answered that question. I think we've covered everything. Wendy, maybe you can summarize, because you're on B2C. So I think all those of you that are in the consumer sector, the presentation covered everything. But Wendy, if you could maybe summarize for those of the attendees that are B2B, what would be the key strategy when you're B2B to get into the Chinese market?
For B2B, I think for B2B market, because firstly, for B2B, the most important is not about branding or promotion in this stage, but the first important one is all about digitalization, because B2B market is less digitalization level than B2C market now in China, and think it is like the common thing. But actually, after the epidemic, you definitely we have to go to start into this market. We need to start this step go into social media platforms. WeChat is definitely your first step, and secondly, we have to try to attract more consumers. We can use Jihoo. So and also you can try to enter like Taobao. Taobao is not only a platform for for B2C end. It's also they have like a platform is called 1688. This is totally for B2B market, and this is the biggest B2B e-commerce market in China. So this is totally you can take into consideration.
Wendy, did you say 6088?
1688, 1688.
Okay, I'm just going to type that in for the B2B folks, so you have the There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. So yeah. So this is a B2B e-commerce platform, and digitalization is totally we need to step into. Yeah, that's the thing I think the most important for me for the B2B market.
Understand. Fantastic. Well, there are no
Yeah.
other questions that have popped in. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. I know we've run out of time. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us today and for presenting as well and for helping us with the Q&A.
Yeah,
And
thank
just so
you,
everybody
Christina.
knows, just so everybody knows, we've got 2 more sessions. Tomorrow, we've got Ariel coming in to talk about e-commerce. And then on Friday, we've got Olivier who's going to be talking about budgeting and give you some concrete numbers to work with or minimum numbers to work with so that you have an understanding of what you should be spending. Wendy highlighted it here. She's like, if you guys have a very big budget, you're going to do better. But obviously, everybody is on tight budgets and everybody at least has to know with what amounts do they start with, right? In order to get some traction. So if you want to join us for Friday, please go ahead and do that. You can register on our website at woodburnglobal.com/events. So again, Wendy, thank you so much. Really appreciate the time you spent. And for everybody else, have a great afternoon or evening. Take care and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.